Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Classroom Nook, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can turn any activity sheet that you would normally have printed out and turn it into a Google Slides resource that your students can actually type into, since they are most likely not going to have access to a printer to print out all the things that you would normally have them do in your classroom, and they can complete this at home instead. So this is just an activity, a student activity packet that I created for my plant unit, and normally I would have printed this out, given it to my students, but I want to be able to make this available to my students in a digital format. Now, if it's a resource that you yourself have created, whether you did it in PowerPoint or Word or another format, there's a way that you can turn this into a Google Slides presentation that they can type into. Now, I recommend going forward, no matter what you're doing, no matter how you create resources for your students, I do recommend that you do it in PowerPoint. PowerPoint makes it really easy for you to kind of manipulate everything that you want to do. And that Word is just a little bit more limiting on how you can put images and things like that onto the slide. So I would recommend creating your resources in PowerPoint, but if you haven't, that's okay. But for the first part of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can do it from PowerPoint, and this same process will also work in Publisher if that's where you create your resources as well. So the first thing that I want to do is, after I've created my resource, I want to save this not as a PowerPoint file and not even as a PDF file that you might use then to print out. I want to save each of these slides as an individual image that I'm going to then use in my Google Slides. So to do that, it's very simple. You go up to File and you go to Save As, and then wherever you have it, I'm just going to put it on my desktop for now, wherever you want to save it, and make sure you name it specifically, because if you're doing this for a lot of resources, you're going to want to make sure that you can easily identify which is which. So I'm going to keep it Student Activity Plants. I'm going to add. And it defaults to save as a PowerPoint presentation. But if I click on that drop-down menu, it gives me the option to save it as a PNG image file. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click Save. Now it's going to ask me, do I want just the slide that I was on, or do I want to make all of the slides a PNG image file? And I'm going to click on all slides. If you did just want one specific slide, make sure that you are on that slide, then click just this one. But I'm going to go ahead and do all. And it's going to put all of those slides as an image in a folder for me on my desktop, which is where I saved it. Once it's done that, it'll say each slide is in a folder, so you're going to just press OK. And then I'm going to go to my desktop where I have it saved. And here is the folder where I've saved it. So now you can see that each slide that I created in PowerPoint is now an individual file, or individual image. So now I can use that in my Google Slides. But before I go into Google Slides, let's say that you did not create this resource and that you actually just have the PDF file from something that you've gotten from somebody else. And in that case, let's take a look at this. So this is my same resource saved as a PDF, and I'm going to pretend that it's not mine. I don't have access to the editable resource where I can make my own changes. I just have the PDF. You can still do this same process, but it's going to take a couple extra steps. Of course, if you are using somebody else's resource, please make sure that you are putting it within a secure platform where other people are not going to have access to it, and that you are including credit to that person that created the resource, and you're not distributing this outside of what you would normally use it for, which is with your students. So I can still create individual images of each of these pages and create an image out of them. And to do that, I'm going to use something called the snipping tool, which you will likely already have on your computer. You can just search for it in the search bar down here. You can search for snipping tool, but I already have it saved on my desktop. So I'm going to click on snipping tool, and I'm going to click on new. And I only want to copy the actual page itself. I don't want all this extra border. So I'm going to go to the very corner, and I'm going to drag over just the page. And when I do that, it creates an image. And I'm going to click on this little save button. I'm going to click on save, and then again, I'm going to save it somewhere where I know where I'll be able to find it easily. Name it. You can name it page 1, or be even more specific and call it journal questions or whatever you want, and then click on save. You're going to want to do that for each individual page within that PDF so that you have all the slides that you need to then insert into Google Slides. So once you have images of each page, then you're going to go into Google Slides, and you can do this in your Drive. Just go to your Google Drive, click on New, go to Google Slides, and there's a couple steps that you need to do before you can actually insert those images. So as you look right now, this is not set up to be the same size as a page that you would print out. So I need to change the size of this presentation here. I'm going to go ahead and just delete the text boxes that are already there by default. And I'm going to go up here to File and Page Setup. Now, a traditional paper that you would print out is an 8.5 by 11. So if I click on this drop-down menu, I'm going to go to Custom, and it's going to be, you're going to have to decide whether it's a landscape or portrait, but the one that I did is a landscape, so I'm going to do 11, 8.5, and I'm going to click Apply. And then you'll see that this now looks more like a sheet of paper that I would print out. So now from here, we can go ahead and insert the images that we saved as a background. You don't want to just insert an image here and put it on top of the slide, because then students can move it around. We want to actually insert it as a background that students cannot make changes to. So to do that, I click on the slide itself, I right click, and I click on Change Background, choose an image, and I'm going to go to that folder where I saved all of those images, and it was on my desktop, and it is this plant folder right there, and here are all my images. And then I can click on the first slide, and it will insert in the background so that it's not available for students to move. Now, to make it even easier for your students, I suggest you do one more step to add the text boxes in already for your students. So you're going to go to Insert, you're going to go to Text Box, and you're going to drag the text box over where you want that text to be. And then I always like to add the words Add Text right in the box so that students know where they're typing. And then I also like to make it red so that it stands out. Everything else is black on the page, so the red makes it stand out. And then, of course, you can size it. You can put it in the center. You can change it. I just like to put as much in already for my students so that they don't have to go in and do all these little extra steps. So then you would continue to do that for all of the slides that you want your students to have access to. And you can just do that by clicking on New Slide. It will add one, delete the boxes that are there, and then add in the images as you saved them. So quickly review, you have two ways to make these into images. You can either open the document that you've created the resource in, whether that's PowerPoint or Publisher. You can go to File and save it as a PNG image. Or if you don't have the actual file that it was created in and you just have the PDF, you can use the snipping tool down that your computer has on you. Click on New and drag over the actual page and save it for each slide within your presentation. And then you're going to insert that into your Google Slides document here in the background by right-clicking and changing the background and inserting each image. Then you're going to want to add text boxes over for each place that your students are going to be typing onto, and now you have a digital resource that was once just printable, and now your students can actually access it using Google Slides. Hope this was helpful.